Happy New Year, Hornby fans. We hope you had an amazing festive season. Now the new year brings with it New Year's resolutions. Mine for 2022 is to get my skills at modelling up to scratch. But here at Hornby, it's not about New Year's resolutions because the new year brings a completely new range. So in this special edition of Signal Box, Simon and Montana will be running you through all the new additions to the Hornby range. So that's enough from me. It'll be over to Simon and Montana. I'm Mike. It's Hornby Range Launch and welcome to Signal Box.
Hello there, I'm Simon Kohler and I'm here with Montana Horan to take you through the new product range for Hornby Railways for 2022. And I'll now hand over to Montana, who will take you through what's new for play trains. Over to you, Montana.
When we first launched the play trains range, we made it very clear that this was just the beginning. And in 2022, we are pleased to be growing the play trains range. So I'm pleased to share with you that we will be introducing something called Play Trains Builder Plus. So as you can see here, this is Play Trains Builder Plus. It's a range of 5 different buildings and accessories. So Builder Plus is all about brick construction. So these buildings will come in large individual pieces that will be easy to clip together to form what you can see here. So we've got a station building and a signal box, we've got a platform and a tunnel. So these all fit in on the Play Trains layout, which comes in the Flash train set. Very easy to put together. The pieces are large and chunky, so they're going to be suitable for young children. We would suggest that parents or guardians do supervise any children whilst playing with these products. As you can see, they're bright, bold, colourful, all work with the existing Play Trains range. And down here, you can see we've got a brand new tunnel. So the tunnel has been designed so that it fits over not only one piece of track, but also double track. So for any customers who have the existing Play Trains collection and they've got the extended track, this tunnel will fit over both pieces. So as I said, we are growing Play Trains. This is another new step for us. But alongside Play Trains Builder Plus, we do also have a couple of new rolling stock products that we're going to be introducing as well. So as you can see here, we've got a hopper wagon. Kids love putting things into things. So as you can see here, this is completely open. Children can drop in their existing toys, little cars. We've also got a car transporter and ramp. So again, on the car theme, if there's kids that have their own cars, they can kind of interplay with their other toys as well. So yeah, this is the next step for Play Trains. Play Trains is going to continue growing and expanding, and we're looking forward to seeing all that comes in 2022 for Play Trains. As part of the 2022 train set range, we are pleased to be continuing with some of our ever popular seasonal sets. So the Santa's Express, for instance, it's popular year in, year out, perfect for running around the base of any Christmas tree or having as a decoration at home. It will continue in the range for 2022, as will the Christmas train set, which features Coca-Cola branding. So we've been lucky to have that licence for the last few years now. It's been extremely popular, not only within the Hornby brand, but also within some of our other brands. Again, this set includes everything you need to run it around the base of a Christmas tree or just have on a layout. Also, the summertime train set, again, features Coca-Cola. We've introduced that recently and it's been a real top hit. This is something that will continue to be part of the Hornby 2022 train set range. So following on from our seasonal sets, we also will be continuing with the Valley Drifter. So the Valley Drifter is our small starter set, includes a steam 040 locomotive and rolling stock, as well as the standard oval of track. The Hornby set range has been particularly steam-centric for a couple of years, and we've been encouraged by many of our retailers to introduce a smaller starter set that features a diesel equivalent out of our 040 steam locos. Consequently, this year we are introducing the Network Traveller, which features the blue 06 shunter and an assortment of 3 wagons. As with the other starter sets, the track makes up a single oval of third radius track, which is the starter circuit for the track pack system. Control is supplied with the R7229 controller, which has a separate uncontrolled outlet for simple point motor operation or other low-powered accessories. The controller is powered by the standard Hornby wall-mounted transformer, and of course the set does include a re-railer. With the re-railer, the loco and wagons just slide down the ramp and really easily go onto the track. Following on from the Network Traveller, we have the GWR high-speed train set. It's been in the range for a few years now, it's been really popular and it will continue into 2022. So staying with the more modern rail scene, the next new set features a Class 67 diesel in the corporate red livery of DB Rail. The set features an eclectic mix of rolling stock, a long wheelbase British steel bogie tippler wagon, long wheelbase tanker and a container wagon carrying two 30-inch containers. The set also includes an oval of third radius track with the track back as well as a MIDI mat. As with the majority of our sets, control is provided by the R7229 controller with separate power output for point motor or other low-powered accessories. Again, a wall-mounted transformer provides power plus a re-railer, making things easier for those not used to placing locomotives and rolling stock on the track. The iTraveller train set was introduced back in 2021 and it features the ever-popular HM6000 controller. Now, we introduced the HM DC application in 2021 and we will be continuing with this set, which features that function. Mallard holds the world speed record for steam locomotives. Mallard achieved this in July 1938 when the locomotive reached 126 miles per hour, a record that it holds to this very day. Built in 1938, Mallard continued in service until being withdrawn in April 1963, a total of just a month or two under 25 years of service, and is now part of the National Collection at the NRM in York. This next train set features Mallard, as the loco would have been seen in the mid-1950s, and includes a rake of 3 carmine and cream liveried coaches. True to the period, Mallard is without valances but resplendent in BR blue. The model also shows a representation of the plaque that commemorates the speed record. The track content makes up the starter oval with siding and also includes a MIDI mat. The reverse of the box, as with all our sets, shows the track pack progression to complete the layout on the mat. Along with the R7229 controller and wall-mounted transformer, there is a re-railer which will prove incredibly useful for placing the loco and coaches on the track, and with some ease. The range wouldn't be complete without the Flying Scotsman, so as per every other year, the Flying Scotsman train set continues to be the firm favourite in the Hornby train set range. So now I'm going to hand over to Simon, who's going to share something slightly different, very special.
Thanks, Montana. Okay, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the formation of Triangle Railways, which occurred when Lines Brothers purchased Rovex Plastics, who were making at the time train sets for Marks and Spencer. Rovex needed to either invest heavily to expand their range or sell the company. And as the Lines Brothers were anxious to enter the toy train market, they decided to sell. With the Lines Brothers, new models from Triangle Railways occurred at an astonishing rate, until by 1960 their range boasted numerous train sets, locomotives, coaches, wagons, buildings and track. The excitement of what the Triangle Railway sets had to offer was superbly highlighted by imaginative full-colour graphics in their annual Triangle Railways catalogue that not only depicted the trains, but where sets were concerned, invariably placed them in an action-packed situation, which just simply inspired and excited those young eyes that eagerly scanned the pages. The enigmatic images and the dramatic set titles were enough for the catalogue to be pored over for hours on end, and with hopes and wishes that for Christmas or maybe a birthday, the train set which offered so much potential excitement would be the present most wanted. For some, the gift never arrived, but memories of the endless time spent turning the pages of the dog-eared Triangle Railways catalogue and the wishing and hoping never left them. This year, and what would be Triangle Railway's 70th anniversary year, we can once again visit those imaginative days with two of Triangle Railway's remembered train sets. The first one is the RS48, the Victorian. Although the Lord of the Isles had previously been made available in much larger sets, 1963 saw the first introduction of the Victorian, which was a more traditional set that not only included the Lord of the Isles locomotive, plus 2 clerestory coaches, but also a simple oval of track. The popular set remained in the Triangle Railway set range for 2 years, although the majority was sold in the first year. Using the same pack graphics as the original set, this 2022 interpretation of the Victorian obviously includes the GWR Achilles class Lord of the Isles locomotive, which incidentally is DCC ready, plus 2 original clerestory coaches. In keeping with the original set, but using System 6 track work, the circuit is made up of a simple oval using 8 R605 first radius double curves, 1 R600 straight and 1 R8206 power track. In keeping as close as possible with the original, there is no controller or transformer included, but there is an R617 uncoupling ramp. Moving on to the second set, this is the RS30 crash train set. The production of this set had been delayed until the introduction of the R127 mobile crane, but in 1963 the crash train set appeared and was an instant success. The catalogue image and description copy simply told the story and fired the imagination as well as the demand for the set. Crash remained in the Triangle Railways range for a period of 3 years, and in that time over 19,000 sets were produced and sold. Similar to the Victorian, the box graphics for the crash set are the same as they were back in 1963. The contents are very similar, but the only change from the original is the use of a conflat wagon for the crane's match truck, as the tooling for the single bolster wagon is no longer sadly available. The track content is the same as the Victorian. Oval of track using first radius double curves, and again an R617 uncoupling ramp is included. But like the original, once again, no controller or transformer. Both sets have a restricted production run of 1,000 pieces. This is nostalgia in the utmost. Triangle Railways would be 70 years old this year. So, now's your chance to relive those memories and have one of those sets that you really wanted but could never have. The first Hornby 00 train set was produced in 1938, but due to the Second World War, production ceased and only fully recommenced in 1948. To own a Hornby 00 set was for many the ultimate dream. Now, the Hornby 00 Duchess of Montrose first appeared in a set during 1953, but it was some 5 years later that the set was repackaged and rebranded the Royal Scot. The new box graphics featured a young boy looking excitedly at the trains in front of him, and that formed a visual template for other Hornby sets. But it was the BR Green Duchess of Montrose locomotive, plus 2 coaches and an over 3 rail track that really made the set stand out from the others. In 2022, and some 64 years later, this new Hornby 00 Royal Scot set makes a welcome return and features the latest metal-bodied Duchess of Montrose in BR Green. Also in the set are 2 coaches and an oval of 2 rail track, As with the original, this set includes a Royal Scot headboard for the locomotive, while the coaches have separate destination boards. The set is unashamedly aimed at both the enthusiast and/or collector, and in keeping with the spirit of the original, does not include a controller or transformer. Without question, this is an absolute dream of a set, and limited to just 500. Right, well, before leaving Hornby 00 and the Hornby 00 set, I just want to highlight a couple of new models in the Hornby 00 range. Yes, it's becoming a range. In 2020, we released the first Hornby 00 locomotive in over 50 years as part of a Hornby's centennial celebration. This we followed up with not only a BR Green Duchess, but 2 original build Merchant Navy models. Such has been the positive reaction that for 2022 we will be including a further Merchant Navy, BR Green Lamport Holt, and in BR Blue City of Lichfield. However, to expand the selection even further, and with echoes of Hornby 00 past, we will be adding to the selection the classic Gresley A4. The A4 was one of the first 2 00 models produced in 1938 and one of the last in 1965. One of the 2 new 2022 versions, and continuing a tradition, will be Sir Nigel Gresley in BR Green, while the second is liveried in LNER Garter Blue and named Gannet. Both models will feature a 5-pole skew-wound motor and be fitted with an 8-pin decoder socket. As normal, only 500 of each are to be produced, and with this in mind, it is expected that these models will be in high demand. So we have the Hornby 00 train set featuring the Duchess of Montrose, the Royal Scot. We have a original Merchant Navy, Lamport and Holt, a BR Blue Duchess, City of Lichfield, and 2 new A4s, carrying on the tradition of Hornby 00. Okay, so now moving on to our more traditional train packs. I'd like to start really with the Kent and East Sussex Railway Terrier 150th Anniversary Twin Pack. Now in 1872, some 150 years ago, this year, the first of the Stroudley designed Terriers, number 72 Fenchurch, entered service. This locomotive was the first of 50 that were built between the years of 1872 and 1880. And I have to say it is a testimony to their design that there are still 10 examples in existence. The Kent and East Sussex Railway has been synonymous with Terriers since purchasing the 1872 built number 70 Poplar in 1901. And to celebrate its 150th anniversary, the railway commissioned the loco's overhaul, with the locomotive now resplendent in its original livery of Stroudley improved green. Now, the second Terrier in this anniversary pack, number 78 Knoll, completes the celebratory brace of Stroudley's diminutive engines. Now preserved at the Kent and East Sussex Railway, the locomotive was in 1940 hired in from the Southern Railway and today carries the plain black Southern livery with sunshine lettering, which it carried at that time. Now the pack is one of only a limited production run of 500, and it has been produced with the full cooperation of the Kent and East Sussex Railway and the local owners of the Terrier Trust. And for good measure, each pack contains a limited numbered certificate. Moving on, Isle of Wight Central Railway Terrier Train Pack. This little beauty here. This is really eye-catching pack with the livery of Newport in the black with red lining. And with the teak style 4-wheel coaches, this pack, like the others in the series, will certainly be popular. It is worth remembering that the coaches can easily be fitted with maglights, should you wish. As a point of interest, W11 Newport has been on the Isle of Wight for the longest of all the locomotives and is the only surviving locomotive to have survived on the Isle of Wight Central Railway. In 2011, Hornby released the Class 423 to some mixed reactions. Not only were there some assembly issues which resulted in poor running, but there was a couple of errors, both internal and external, that also drew criticism. The adverse comments at the time centred around the front cab area. The vehicle's coupling, which shared the power connection, was also criticised. Each of these issues have been addressed, with the result that the Class 423 full VEP is to be reissued in 2022 in 2 liveries, with additional improvements including a 21-pin connection and the creation of a speaker chamber. The first of these new 4 VEPs is in the green and white colours of Southern, while the second is in the red, white and blue livery of South West Trains. With the current second-hand market demanding quite a high price for these original leases, once these new and improved models are released, I am sure it won't be too long before they are eagerly snapped up. Now, some of you may have seen on the yesterday programme concerning Hornby how we've been working on the Class 43. Now, the highly detailed Class 43 was released a surprising 14 years ago, and at the time of release was at the cutting edge of design and detail. Since then, these twin demands have evolved, and this year the Class 43 has benefited from such developments as may have been seen of the TV programme. These developments include improved kinematic rear coupling mechanisms, which replaces the rather crude bar that the previous model had. Also, the cooling fans are now driven by a separate motor rather than a cam belt, which was not always reliable. Greater print detail has been included on the chassis, while day-night lighting has now been incorporated, plus a light in the cab. Together with this, space has been allowed for the latest in sound speakers, while the whole ensemble has been rounded off with a fitting of a 21-pin decoder socket. To kick off this new era in Hornby HST models, we have numerous new liveries, including GWR Castle Service, the blue, orange and red livery of East Midland Railway, First Great Western circa 2008, which is commonly known as the fag packet livery, plus the grey colours of the East Coast trains. Staying on grey but bang up to date is the twin-packed buffered Rail Adventure Class 43. Now, the APTP has proved to be a real showstopper this year, and there will be 2 new packs, a 5-car pack with black nose cone, while the 7 is all yellow. An additional NDM, that's a non-driving motor, unit number 49006 will also be available. So it will be possible for those who've either want to run the all black fronted APT run to run 2, echoing the same period, or those that just have the plain yellow, it will be able to put 2 of these on their layouts together representing the same period. It's a little bit complicated that, but I think you know what I mean. And of course there will be additional coaches. One point is, if you want to run a 12-car train, then you will need to add an additional NDM. The Class 7553 and the Class 7554. Now these are bi-mode multiple units which are becoming increasingly more prevalent in the UK. One of the new breed is the Stadler-built Class 7553 and 4. These units are part of Stadler's Flirt modular trains. Built for Greater Anglia, the trains first entered service in July 2019 and are used on the regional and local services throughout East Anglia. The Class 755 has as the numbers dictate, 3 or 4 passenger vehicles, along with a separate power pack vehicle containing 2 or 4 Deutsche V8 16-litre diesel engines and generators. All the vehicles are linked by Jacobs bogies, that's a common bogie linking the two coaches together, with the end bogies being motored. Unusual for the UK, the lower than normal floor level enables step-free boarding on standard height platforms. The pantographs are mounted on the intermediate cars. The Hornby models will be available during the fourth quarter, and there will be 2 variants of both, as I've indicated, 7553 and 7554. So 3 passenger version, 4 passenger version. This is a really good modern addition to our range. Moving swiftly on, the Hitachi Class 800 series. We launched the Class 800 some 5 years ago now, it seems unbelievable really, with the packs being limited to 5 cars. This coming year, this 2022 year, sees the introduction of the missing 4 cars so that we can extend the series to cater for the 9 car variants. First off the tracks will be the LNER Class 801/2. This is the 9 car Azuma, includes the train pack, which has the following units: the PDTS, 2 MSs, an MF and a PDTRBF. The additional coach pack will include an extra MS, a TSRB, a TS and an MC. Moving on to Great Western, the GWR Class 802/1. Now this pack is the latest GWR unit and contains a PDTS, 2 MS coaches, an MF coach and a PDTRBF. The additional coach pack for this 9 car unit features an MS, 2 TS coaches and an MC. Now also in the Class 800 series, we are pleased to include the Trans-Pennine Express Class 802/2, commonly known as the Nova. This 5 car pack is made up of a PDTS, 3 MS coaches and a TS and a PDTF. And finally, in this quartet of 800s is the Loomis Class 803. This all standard seat 5 car pack includes 2 PDTS units and 3 MS coaches. This is an exciting extension of the Hitachi 800 series and really bang up to date.
So during the lockdown period, we really found that people were understandably investing a lot of time into their hobbies and more specifically their layout buildings. So this year, and as per other years, we are introducing a new range of Scale Scenic products, allowing customers to invest even more time into creating their dream model railway layout. So we have a range of southeastern buildings that we're going to be introducing. We've got tunnel ports, retaining walls and arch viaducts. This will just allow customers to extend their layout even further and make it as realistic as they possibly could wish. We're also going to be introducing commercial and domestic buildings, and we've also got some platforms and accessories. So people will be able to spend even more time creating their perfect Hornby world. The railroad range, as many of you are aware, is a key part of Hornby's strategy to encourage the development from a train set user to a hobbyist. It's also there for those modellers who are on a limited budget or who wish to try their hand at spraying a model or adding detail, indeed hone their modelling skills. It is all well and good manufacturers being elitist and striving to try and out-detail each other, but that only in time reduces the potential interest with newbies to the hobby and then developing into regular model railway purchasers. Hornby is lucky as it can call upon past tooling to produce good quality models for those who are new to the hobby and want a model they can enhance. First new to the range is the BR Class 43 Intercity HST Pack. Fitted with a 5-pole skew wound motor, this model does not pretend to be as highly detailed as the current Hornby main range equivalent, but all the same it can pull a fair few Mark III coaches as a respectable pace. New to the Railroad Plus section, remembering that the Plus stands for Enhanced Livery and where possible etched nameplates, we have the BR Class 110 DMU 2 and 3 car train packs. As you will be aware, the Class 110 DMUs were built by the Birmingham Railway and Carriage Company and were in service between 1961 and 1991 and operated in the cross-country services between Lancashire and Yorkshire. These models are powered by a 5-pole skew wound motor. Moving on, there is a broad selection of new diesel units including 2 Class 31s. The first is a brightly coloured and eye-catching BR Departmental RTC Train Testing 31, and the second is the BR Intercity livery and named the Heart of Wessex, and it includes an etched nameplate. Also in BR Intercity livery there is a Class 37, number 37152. Making a welcome return there is a brace of Class 40s, BR Departmental number 97407 and BR Green Empress of Canada. The Class 47s are always a popular choice and we have 4 new liveries for 2022, these being the bright yellow and white with red stripe liveried BR Infrastructure 47803 and Network Rail 47598. The large arrow number 47656 and a GWR Castle number 57603. I appreciate this last one is a little bit of a cheat, but all the same there is something quite enigmatic about the green livery with the large GWR branding. Finally, there are 2 Class 67s, the simple silvered DB Rail Royal Diamond and the bright orange, yellow and black liveried Colas Rail Freight. So that's everything that is going to be part of the Railroad range for 2022.
Right, if we can now move on to steam locomotives, really first up in the steam locomotive range is a new livery and an old favourite, or becoming an old favourite, and that's the Departmental Terrier, which kicks off the first of the new steam locos, and that loco is carrying the DS680 number on the cab side. This particular Terrier was originally number 54 Wadden, which in 1952 is employed as a shunting and piloting locomotive and was turned out in working BR black. Later in 62, and being reliveried in LB and SCR colours, the locomotive was shipped over to Canada for permanent exhibition. Moving on, the BR Class M7 in malachite with British Railways emblazoned on the side, was only one of 4 of the class which actually received this livery. Now, something a little bit special, The Railway Children is a much-loved film and the sequel is bound to have the same magic. It will be released, I believe, in the summer of 22, and the title being The Railway Children Return, which is bound to be a firm film favourite. Working with Studio Canal, we are releasing, to coincide with the film, a model of the LMS 4F as featured as a starring role in the film. Of course, this is Hollywood, or the UK equivalent, so certain liberties have occurred with the livery, as will be noticed by the image. But trust me, this is how it actually does appear in the film. The model will be presented in a specially produced Railway Children Return pack, and only 1,000 will be produced. Moving on to something a little bit more formal, and we have the BR Battle of Britain in malachite livery 257 Squadron. Staying with the Bullied Beauties, the next is the early BR Brunswick Green West Country Braunton. Moving on to the larger Bullieds, we have, due to popular demand, a reintroduction of the Southern Railway Merchant Navy Channel Packet. Only a limited run of 500 are to be produced, which we believe will satisfy those who missed out when the model was available the last time. Moving on to Stanier steamers, and resplendent in BR Maroon, we have the Princess Coronation Class City of London. very striking model in my opinion. It is the LNR's turn now, with a brace of A4s, both in LNER Garter Blue. First is the Empire, while the second features one of the longest nameplates ever to be seen on a UK locomotive, and that is Commonwealth of Australia. I have made it no secret that I am just in awe of Gresley's 10,000 Hush Hush W1. And with the demand for the previous models, both original and rebuilt, I'm not alone. With this in mind, and to continue to service the demand for one of Gresley's greatest locos, the original Hush Hush is once more available, but this time with the smoke lifting cowl, which was fitted later in its development. As for the rebuild Class W1 Hush Hush, an early BR Blue number 6700 continues to trace the history in model form of this wonderful locomotive. Returning to Stanier, like Gresley, he was not averse to trying something new, something that would break the mould, and the turbo motive certainly did that. The turbo was an experimental and non-condensing steam turbine locomotive that was inspired by a similar Swedish locomotive development. Using a Princess Royal class chassis, the turbo motive was numbered 6202. Compared to other experimental steam locomotives, such as the aforementioned W1 Hush Hush, 6202 was considered to be relatively successful, as it tended to show a saving in coal compared to conventional locomotives, and was far easier on the track, i.e. it didn't pound the track as hard. So sadly, steam turbines when used outside of a ship are quite inefficient when throttled, and one of the major disadvantages was that in reverse the locomotive was underpowered, and therefore it had to be always turned to face forwards in order to pull a train. For 2022, we are introducing Stanier's turbo motive. Now, the original LMS configuration, as can be seen, is incredibly striking in that lovely crimson lake livery. Whereas when you start looking at the early BR alternative, you will notice that there are subtle body detail differences. All models are available with and without decoders, and each are fitted with a powerful 5-pole skew wound motor. This is a truly stunning model and certainly captures the power and the magnitude of the prototype. This is the first time Hornby has introduced a model where the lamps are actually lit. So, hence, the model is fitted with a 21-pin decoder. To many, Sir William A. Stanier was to the LMS what Sir Nigel Gresley was to the LNER. His locomotive designs were both practical and functional. He designed his locomotive to suit the task, and possibly none than the ubiquitous LMS Class 5, alternatively known as Black 5. A staggering 842 were built between 1934 and 1951. It's worth noting that Hornby's first model, Black 5, was released in 1973, 49 years ago, and I remember that. And then totally retooled, the model was totally retooled in 2002. Since that time, design techniques and the demands of the modeler have both improved and increased, with the result that some 20 years later, Hornby are going to be producing what is to be the ultimate Black 5. I very rarely use the word ultimate, but I personally believe this will be the ultimate Black 5. It will feature totally, and I mean totally, new tooling throughout, and employs the latest CAD design techniques. The new Hornby Black 5 will include features and details never included on previous models, allowing for many, many different variants. Allowance have also been made for models to accommodate either the wall shots or caprotti valve gear, plus numerous other subtle differences that inevitably occurred over the 17-year production period of the locomotive. This new Hornby Black 5 will be produced to a highly cutting-edge standard, Not only will the locos be fitted with a 21-pin DCC socket, but the models will feature flickering firebox and new close coupling loco to tender mechanism. As tends to be standard with Hornby models, there will be a sliding cab roof ventilator fitted. Obviously a hinged tail plate, numerous tool inserts to be able to produce a myriad of locomotive variations, and new painted driver and fireman figures will also be included. On top of cab roof ventilator, there will also be lit lamp codes and consequently a 21 decoder capability. First of the new LMS BR Class 5s to be released will be, firstly, the LMS number 5200, then the early BR 45157 Glasgow Highlander, and a late BR Caprotti fitted loco number 44755. This is truly an exciting and worthwhile addition to the Hornby range, and one which I know will be welcomed by all steam enthusiasts. And after these three, only another 838 models to go. So it is a terrific investment, but we know that the demand is there, the interest there, and it shows, quite frankly, we continually reappraise our models and update as and when we see fit. Something really exciting, again something you may have just seen a smidgen on when it comes to the TV series you saw on yesterday. For me, what better way to add realism to any model railway scene than to have not only the mighty sound of a powerful locomotive, but also great clouds of steam billowing out through the locomotive's chimney as the model gathers pace. As I said, you may have seen us working on creating such a thing on the Yesterday TV programme, but our development has come on in leaps and bounds since then, and I am pleased, if not a little excited, to formally announce a first in the commercial production of a series of locomotives that not only have the sound of steam, but also steam itself. The new Hornby steam generator fitted locomotives can create great clouds of steam as a loco gathers speed, or just whisks as the loco sits waiting to move off. Utilising the latest Hornby DCC sound decoder, which is linked to the new Hornby and unique steam generator, different degrees of steam emissions can be programmed in line with not only the speed of the locomotive, but also, and arguably more importantly, while the model is stationary. This is truly yet one more realistic and exciting dimension that can be brought to a DCC controlled model railway layout. Initially, we will offer 3 locomotives with this unique feature, with the first quite rightly being Flying Scotsman. The second, and another of Gresley's locos, will be the P2 class 2007 Prince of Wales. And finally, one of the new Black 5s, number 44726. I honestly cannot stress enough what an exciting and groundbreaking commercial development that is. Yes, people have done it themselves, but this is commercially, this is manufactured, this is part of a range. This is truly fascinating to see, and so far, as I'm concerned, truly amazing.
As you can see, Simon is very excited about the addition of a steam generator into our range. This is something that people have been asking for a long time. Now, I was lucky enough to see a very early development sample, and I have to admit the added realism of steam and the way that the steam chuffs along with the sounds of the locomotives really does add that aesthetic to a model railway layout. So I don't blame Simon for being excited. But I didn't want to keep it to myself, so I got Nathan to whip out his camera and make sure that he got you some footage of this in action. Now bear in mind, it is a very early development sample, so there are wires and the aesthetics of the model aren't exactly what they'll be when it finally lands on your doorstep. But I think you'll agree that even at this early stage, this technology is something very, very exciting.
Having moved over from steam, we now start talking about diesel and electric. And I suppose it can be argued that diesel and electric locomotives are really not as charismatic as many of the classes of steam engines they replace. But for some, they are a rare beauty to behold. And as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And long may that remain so. The broad selection of Hornby diesel and electric models do span almost the whole period of when the first modern traction locomotives started to appear in significant numbers on the British rail network. The wide and eclectic selection of Hornby diesel or electric traction starts with the diminutive 48DS models, of which there are two new for 2022. Firstly, the Gower Princess, which now resides at the West Somerset Railway, with a second new addition being the GCR 48DS. The new 060 Industrial Sentinels are next with 3 versions. This is new tooling, with the first model being in the dark blue colour scheme of Port of Bristol Authority, and the second carrying a similar colour scheme, but this time being branded MSC, which is the Manchester Ship Canal Railway Company. The third and last 060 Sentinel carries the NCB branding. Moving on, the ubiquitous Class 08 continues to make an appearance with 3 new liveries. The first is number 604 Phantom, which is a permanent resident of the Didcot Railway Centre. The second is part of the National Collection and is number 13079 and carries a black livery with the early BR Lion on a bike. The third and last is the privately owned Lorem 08. Returning to the National Collection, the Class 31 in BR Green number D5500 makes an appearance, as does number 31139. Equal in popularity with the 31s are the Class 50s, and we have 2 new for this year. The first is 50044 Exeter in Network South East livery, while the second is 50042 in BR Blue, with the large BR white arrows emblazoned on each side of the body and named Triumph. Something that I do tend to forget is that each model does have a 5-pole skew wound motor. Plus, this year we have changed from 8 pins to 21 pin decoder sockets. Continuing with the big boys in diesel power, 2 additional Class 6s have now been added to this year's range of diesel traction, both carrying the subsector markings. The first is 60,000 Steadfast with the blue and yellow square logo denoting rail freight construction, and 60,002 Capability Brown with the blue and yellow wavy lines of rail freight petroleum. Both of these models are now fitted with 21 pin DCC sockets. Moving on, 4 new liveried Class 66 now fill a complete page of the 2022 catalogue. And from the top, the first is 66748 in GBRF grey. The second is Direct Rail Services, liveried in the corporate blue colour, and this is number 66432. Returning to subsector livery, GBRF recently turned their clocks back with the 2-tone grey rail freight construction liveried 66. Finally, and staying with GBRF, in association with HS2, have produced a striking green and blue livery 66, which calls out the message, "It's cleaner by rail," something I would find difficult to argue about. Incidentally, these new 66s include a 21 pin DCC socket. The wait for the totally new Class 91 will soon be over. We are aware that there has been a delay, but we have put the time to good use, as the model will now include day and night time running lights, plus cab lighting, not to mention 21 pin DCC socket. The demand is strong for each of the 91s we have announced so far, and consequently we have added a further 2. The first is the LNER Flying Scotsman branded 91101, and the second being the incredibly evocative Battle of Britain flight 91110. With new Greater Anglia flirts, the extended 800 series, plus the extended selection of new solo, diesel and electric locomotives, those interested in what they call modern image will have plenty to choose from this coming year. But remember, if there's a livery, if there's a loco that you believe should be in the range, do let us know. I cannot stress hard enough that this is your range, okay? So do let us know. So, as I said, we're now moving on to coaches, and to be honest, what a broad selection of coaches we have for you this year. Unsurprisingly, with the retooling of the HST, we have retooled the Mark III coaches. Now, the original Mark III coaches have served us well, but you know, they are over 20 years old, and you really don't realise how quickly time passes. These coaches will be able to take a maglite system, so that has been allowed for in the design of these coaches. The liveries we've chosen are obviously going to coincide with the new HST unit. So we have here the East Midlands, LNER, East Coast, and what we call the fag packet, the 2008 Great Western livery. Moving on to go with the Castle GWR Castle HSTs. Coaches there, new Mark III coaches for those. Going back a bit now, Mark II coaches in DRS, and then a selection of Mark I coaches. Here, this is the new restaurant buffet car in both early BR Intercity and the later BR Intercity as well. Mark I BCKs, another livery and running number on there. And then we have the dining saloons, the Southern Dining Saloon and the BR Blood and Custard version. And then departmental coaches, Mark I coaches. These are proven quite popular because, you know, you can have these in sidings, etc., or indeed, you know, on a service train. So really impressive. Love the colourways on this. Now, moving over to our coaches over here. Now, the 4 and 6 wheel coaches we launched last year, which incredibly popular and in great demand. And yes, we got the numbers wrong, but hopefully this time we will get it right. But going from the top down, 6 wheel Great Western coaches. Now, Prussian Blue, Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway coaches. These are stunning. These are absolutely beautiful coaches. And then down here we have the London and South Western Railway livery. And more importantly, actually, where you associate these 4 and 6 wheel coaches with really pre-grouping and then moving on a little bit into the big 4, those coaches did actually continue into BR period. So we have a couple of maintenance departmental coaches here, crew coaches, and here an intercity liveried generator car. What we have here is another set of Coronation Scott coaches for those who missed out the first time round. And we'll have the loco. There are only 4 of the blue Coronations. This one is Queen Mary. So coach and loco as an ensemble. And then just above here, and I touched on it earlier when we were talking about the 800s, we have the relevant additional coaches to make up your 9-car units, both in LNER and Great Western. And for your APT and to build up your APT trains, as it were, we have the relevant coaches for you to do just that. Now, I did touch on mag lights, and I stress again that there will be a magnite strip which will be suitable for the Mark III coaches. Now, last year we did include mag lights in coaches, but because of impending safety issues with regards to unfortunately children swallowing button batteries, we have decided that we won't produce any coaches with mag lights in and just produce the mag light unit as a separate item. Most exciting, staying with coaches again, for me, certainly in this forthcoming Platinum Jubilee year for Her Majesty the Queen, is the introduction of the LNER coronation train. There is a reason, which some of you may have picked up by including the specific livery for the coronation in two of our new, and that obviously is so they match up with these coaches. Now, it was 8-car train part of the year, and then later became a 9-car with the addition of the observation car. So what we have here, because it was articulated, you'll have 4 twin coach packs to build up the 8 cars and then the individual observation car. There were actually two trains or 2 rakes of these coaches built, introduced in the coronation year, which was 1937 of the King George V, and Queen Elizabeth, who later became obviously Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother. 1937 was its first inaugural run. Obviously during the war, the service stopped and sadly was never reinstated, although the coaches were used obviously in different liveries as time went on. There were 2 beaver tail observation cars. These were shipped up to, I believe, Scotland and were rebuilt. Fortunately, both exist. One of them, and the one we've modelled, has been reinstated to its original form. Interior is very Art Deco. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful model, and it's one of those rakes of coaches that I've really wanted to get into the Hornby range, and finally it will be here. The Hornby Beetle's interest really started with the introduction of the Yellow Submarine Eurostar. Inspired by the interest in the Eurostar set, and borrowing an idea or 2 from our Corgi diecast friends, we produced last year 4 wagons with each featuring the sleeve art of 4 of the Beatles' albums. So popular were these albums, in fact we sold these out very, very quickly. We have extended the collection by adding a further 4. These being Beatles for Sale, Rubber Soul, Revolver, and of course Let It Be. The production numbers for these vans will be strictly limited so as to maintain their collectability status. Now, staying with the Beatles and their music, but moving not from the albums but into their singles regularly sold in excess of 1 million copies. And to celebrate that, we're introducing a new Singles from Liverpool train pack. This limited edition train pack, of which only 1,000 are going to be produced, includes not only a specially liveried Class 73 featuring images of the Fab Four, but 2 BR Mark 1 utility vans, each showing artwork from the singles artwork in progression. So as it goes down, starts early and moves through their career, and includes sleeve art from Strawberry Fields, Hard Day's Night, and of course Hey Jude. Definitely one for the collectors and all Beatles memorabilia fans, but also for those who like something a little bit different to run on their railway. And yes, there is a numbered certificate included. Now, staying with the collecting theme and following on with the success of both the Coca-Cola Christmas train set and the summertime set, the demand has been for a larger selection of solo items so that both the sets can be Coca-Cola added to. Firstly, on the motive power front, there is a Coca-Cola inspired Class 121. In the solo freight area, 2 new wagons are available. There is a 6-wheel tanker, plus a general utility vehicle emblazoned with the well-known and familiar Coca-Cola logo. However, something really eye-catching and fun, there is the low-mat wagon carrying a large solo bottle of Coke. I can hear people saying, well, what's this got to do with model railways? Either the Beatles and the Coke. What these do, what having these well-known brands as part of the Hornby range entices people to get into the hobby.
So the 2022 wagon range features a whole variety of different models spanning various eras and featuring a whole range of liveries. So taking a closer look at some of the key models in the category, we have 2 newly tooled Laureate machinery trucks in BR and GWR. The GWR truck was used to carry the old coach body as seen in Titfield Thunderbolt, so these trucks are perfectly linked to the Trains on Film packs featuring Titfield Thunderbolt. We also have 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 plank wagon variations, 2 21-tonne coal wagons as well as 2 conflats. Following the success of the 2021 luggage vans, we have a new Southern Railway liveried version in the 2022 range, alongside a newspaper and ferry van. A selection of brake vans are also included, plus a Shark ballast plough, which is a firm favourite of mine in its distinctive navy and orange livery. Next year we'll also be introducing a mix of wagon packs as well, including 3 which we think will be a top hit. These include the L and MR coal wagon pack, sheep wagon pack and also a horse wagon pack, with the intention of these being run with the legendary Rocket. The sheep and horse packs will also include the animals to go in each wagon. We also have new ballast wagon packs as well as 12-tonne fish vans in a pack of 3 as well. We can't not mention our collectible and seasonal wagons, which are often firm favourites year in, year out. Of course, we will be introducing a 2022 Christmas wagon, allowing customers to continue building and expanding their collection. We also have a Santa's present van and a Christmas tree carrier, ideal for adding to the Santa's Express set or any other seasonal train. Hopefully we will be returning to events later next year, so the Roadshow wagon will be making a return for 2022, alongside a new Father's Day wagon and our annual wagon for the new year. Over recent years, we have seen a real demand for containers and container packs, so we're pleased to be expanding the range with a selection of containers covering a variety of different companies, including Malcolm Logistics, Salmain, Bulk Haul, H&S Food Trans, and many, many more. So there we have our 2022 wagon range, and hopefully you'll have some of those running on your layout later this year.
Well, that's it for this month. Let us know in the comments below what